It's official. President Donald Trump still likes Elon Musk. At least that's what he told reporters on Air Force One.
How is your relationship with Elon these days? And is there?
I think it's good. I mean, you saw that during Charlie's beautiful tribute. Elon came up. It's good with Elon. I like Elon. I've always liked Elon. Elon's good.
Have you talked to him since the memorial?
On and off a little bit. Yeah, very little. Nothing much. Look, he's a nice guy. And he's a very capable guy. I've always liked him. He had a bad spell. He had a bad period. He had a bad moment. It was a stupid moment in his life. Very stupid. I'm sure he'd tell you that. But I like Elon, and I suspect I'll always like him.
I like Elon. I'll always like Elon. And that was President Donald Trump on Air Force One flying around Asia because he's taking an Asian trip, a Pan-Asian excursion where he's meeting with leaders in Malaysia and Japan and Korea and maybe potentially even North Korea, which is something he threw on last minute.
While in South Korea, do you have any plans to meet with Kim Jong-un at the DMZ?
Well, I would if he would contact him. And I was... the last time I met you, and I put it out over the internet that I'm coming to South Korea. If he'd like to meet, I'm open to it. Certainly, we had a very I'd do it. I mean, if you want to put out the word, I'm open to it. You know, they don't have a lot of telephone service. They have a lot of nuclear weapons, but not a lot of telephone service. So I'm open to it. I had a great relationship with him, and he probably knows I'm coming, right? But you want to put out the word, I'm open to it.
Do you expect to touch it all before this trip?
Really, there's not a lot of ways other than the internet. You know, they have very little telephonic service, and but he knows I'm coming, and he would. Yeah, I'd be open to it 100%. I got along very well with him.
Yeah,
Kim Jong-un.
President Donald Trump open to a meeting with Kim Jong-un, but unable to pick up the phone and call him and tell him that. But he's putting it out there. If he wants me, I'm in the neighborhood. I'm already in the neighborhood. I can just swing on by. We can have some tea, and I don't know. I don't even know really what else they have with their tea in Korea. But that's something Donald Trump has said. Look, we don't have anything on the schedule, but I'm happy to extend my trip and head over there, which I'm sure makes the advance team thrilled. Can you imagine a last minute addition to North Korea, the Donald Trump's team of Secret Service agents and a diplomatic, the diplomatic corps, Monica Crowley, all those folks, they have to automatically scramble to make sure that Donald Trump is safe in one of the least safe countries in the entire world. But look, Donald Trump has no fear, and he is on a mission to bring peace to every corner of the globe and also bring money back home, which is why he headed to Asia and started, of course, with his trip in Malaysia.
Well, this is so exciting because we did something that a lot of people said couldn't be done, and we saved maybe millions of lives on this one peace deal itself. And I'll tell you what makes me so happy is the two countries we're dealing with, and the third that helped so much. I appreciate so much. Maybe it couldn't have been done without you, but they really like each other. I'm not used to that when I do these deals. Usually there's a lot of hatred. They liked each other, so it made it a little bit easier. But millions of people are alive today because of this peace treaty. So before I begin, I want to extend our deepest condolences to the Prime Minister, Newton, as well as His Majesty, the King of Thailand, and the entire nation on the passing of Her Majesty, Queen Sirikhet, the Queen Mother, and a beautiful, incredible woman who is so respected all over the world, actually respected. I know the people of Thailand will remember her forever as the embodiment of dignity, kindness, and grace. This just happened. But this is a woman who was so loved and respected. Today we honor the memory by bringing the blessing of peace to the nation she dearly loved. She loved this nation like few people love their nations. This is a momentous day for all of the people of Southeast Asia as we sign a historic agreement to end the military conflict between Cambodia and Thailand.
Yeah. And not only that, but President Donald Trump doing what he did, in the Middle East and Europe, wherever he goes. I always say Donald Trump, it's less like a diplomatic visit and more like a sales call. He comes in, he says, hey, guys, let's stop fighting. Okay, great. What do you got for me? And how much money are you going to give me to put back on Air Force One and take back to the United States of America? What are your investments? It reminds me of when I used to go door to door in the neighborhood selling magazine subscriptions so I could win a Walkman in 7th grade. That was good times. Donald Trump does it, only he does it with trillions of dollars of investment in the United States of America, manufacturing AI capabilities. It's similar, but just slightly different. Back home, by the way, there's still negotiations that are stymied on the government shutdown, and the government shutdown continues now well into what are we, the 4th week? We're heading into November 1st almost. The second longest government shutdown in history, could be the longest at the end of the day because the Democrats refuse to come to the table. The Democrat and Donald Trump has said multiple times, in fact, he said it again on Air Force One, I will happily sit down with Hakeem the Dream Jeffries. I will happily sit down with Chuck Schumer. I will happily sit down with any Democrat, but they've got to open up the government first.
Do you think you'll sit down with Hakeem Jeffries and
I would. I'd be willing to. I would have now, too. I left. I said, come on over, just put the government back. All they have to do is say yes, and it's over. And we start, and then we go into a negotiation. Look, Obamacare has been terrible. We can make it better. I'm all for that. But they're not, and they want to allow many illegal people that came into our country illegally from prisons, from mental institutions, from all over the world. They want them to get paid, and that's going to hurt the citizens of our country, and I just can't do it.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to hurt the citizens of our country. We'll sit down, we'll chit chat, we'll talk about opening up the government again, but we're going to do it, once the government's open. We'll talk about healthcare rather, but we're going to do it once the government is open. And while Donald Trump says he's more than willing to sit down with Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer once the government's open, Scott Bessent back here at home, the Treasury Secretary, was doing the Sunday shows, and he thought, what even is the point of all of this?
I don't know what good it does to summon them to the White House. This is a Democratic-led boycott, and I'm just not sure what they're doing. What's changed between now and March other than Chuck Schumer's poll numbers? And I think Hakeem Jeffries is now going to be primaried from the left, and I didn't think there was a lot of room over there. So both of them are worried about their primaries and not the American people, not the government employees, not our military employees, because we were able to pay the military employees from excess funds at the Pentagon middle of this month. I think we'll be able to pay them beginning in November, but by November 15th, our troops and service members who are willing to risk their lives aren't going to be able to get paid. What an embarrassment. Yeah,
it is an embarrassment. And just, Scott, I don't know what the deal is. Why would we bring them to the White House when they're unwilling to even pay the troops? Why would we bring them to the White House when they're boycotting the United States of America? They're holding us hostage. They've got an economic gun to the heads of millions of Americans, and they're not willing to put it down. They have nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose in the Senate, the House, the White House. So they're going to, when you have nothing to lose, you really have no reason to negotiate. And the Democrats, the Republicans, came to the table with nothing at all to negotiate with. They didn't bring any. They just said, let's keep the government open. And the Democrats took the full advantage of that and continue to take full advantage of that. And Donald Trump has no bones about it. He's not letting in either. He's like, look, this is the Democrats' fault. It's their problem, and they need to fix it.
The Democrats are stopping it. All they have to do is agree to let's go, and we're ready. And we voted for it many times. All we need is 5 Democrats. The Republicans vote for it, but we'll see what happens. But really, this is purely Democrat. They're doing some really bad things. I think they're lost souls. You know what that is? They are lost souls.
Yeah, they're lost souls. They've lost elections. They've lost their minds. They're pretty much just lost in every aspect of the world, and they are the ones that are leading this government shutdown. By the way, Scott Bessent was in rare form as he went on the Sunday shows yesterday. He went toe-to-toe with Kristen Welker saying, look, I like you, lady, but you definitely are fake news.
Well, Kristen, it's unfortunate. As much as I like you, you like to cherry pick. So, when we came in, it was eggflation. Egg prices are down, gasoline prices are down. Overall, the inflation since President Trump has come in, has come down. we inherited this terrible affordability crisis from the Biden administration. The first thing we had to do was get it under control. And this month's inflation number was actually below the consensus number. If we look at core inflation, it was 0.2%, which was the lowest it's been in a long time. Rents are coming down. So, Kristen, you don't get to cherry pick. Inflation is a composite number, and I am confident that in the coming months, inflation is going to come down.
Yeah, he's not having any of her junk. He's like, look, you're cherry picking. You're saying this about that, but you're forgetting about that about this. And let me give you the entire story, because it is one whole. You have to look at it from from the entirety of the situation, and you're not. But that's okay, because that's what the fake news does. She also asked about the shutdown, which Scott Bessent reiterated again is the Democrats' fault, and the Democrats are dug in on this.
What good does it do, Martha? They've dug in. The American people are hostage to Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries' poll numbers, because what's changed between now and the last time there was a clean continuing resolution is Chuck Schumer has tanked in the polls. Both of the two guys from Brooklyn, like I call them, are worried about being primary from the left. 52 Republican senators have voted 11 times to reopen the government. 3 brave, moderate Democrats have come across the aisle. So, I call on moderate Democratic senators to end this craziness. You'll be heroes. Because, Martha, what I can tell you is that we managed to find the money in the middle of October to pay our brave service members.
Yeah, and that is something that he reiterated on all the Sunday shows. But he's right about Hakeem Jeffries, who is kind of he's kind of the new villain in this for the Democrat Party. Hakeem Jeffries has tried to stay fast and furious. He's tried to stay strong in the face of President Donald Trump. He's tried to be a baller when Donald Trump posted memes where he wears the sombrero, all that good stuff that we love from the White House. And he's failing miserably. And now the people on the left are looking at Hakeem Jeffries and saying, you're not crazy enough for us. They're looking for somebody even zanier than Hakeem the Dream Jeffries. So it looks like he and Chuck Schumer are both on their way out, looking to be replaced by more crazy socialists like Zohran Mamdani, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. It's really going to become, you're going to have a far right wing part of the party and a far left wing part of the, of the House of Representatives. And it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, ever gets done. It's going to come down to whoever's controlling the speakership, which makes this midterm election very, 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 very important. Scott Bessent also said, as President Donald Trump has said over and over again, we don't have $1.5 trillion, by the way. We'd already talked about this. The big, beautiful bill, the one big, beautiful bill was already negotiated. It was already passed. It was already signed into law. So we don't have more money for this. Money's already been allocated.
What can we do? What can we do for, this desperate act that we can call on them to change their minds? Because I can tell you the 1.5 trillion in spending that they're calling for, that's not on the table. We inherited a mess. We inherited the worst budget deficit to GDP when we weren't in a recession and we weren't at war. It was 6.4, 6.5%. We've managed to bring that down to 5.9%, and we're not going to let them be irresponsible with the budget again.
Yeah, there's no reason we're going to undo all the good that we've done just because they don't want to do good. That's basically what he's saying. And President Donald Trump has left, by the way, when he left the country, when he went on this Asian tour, this Pan-Asian adventure, if you will, he left Scott Bessent in total control of negotiating, not just with the Democrats on the budget, but with China. And he said, look, you come up with your thing. You do what you have to do. And Donald Trump does that with his entire staff. He did it with Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, when it comes to dealing with California and California's lawlessness. And Sean Duffy said, I am ready. I'm going to pull millions and millions of dollars out of California unless they start, obeying the law.
Gavin Newsom has thumbed his nose at us. He's refused to comply with the rules that have come from DOT, which is stop issuing these licenses, number one. And number two, go back and review all the licenses that you have issued and make sure it's been done legally. Gavin Newsom has said no. So, one, I'm about to pull $160 million from California. And as we pull more money, we also have the option of pulling California's ability to issue commercial driver's licenses. Gavin Newsom cares more about illegals getting commercial driver's licenses than he he does the citizens of his own state and the safety of Americans. It's shameful. He's been lying about what he's been doing. And again, we're going to fight tooth and nail under President Trump's administration to make sure that we hold states like California accountable.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what everybody needs to do. And Donald Trump has done something miraculous with his presidency. He's done a lot of things, but one of the reasons he's so effective is because of the team he put together. Scott Bessent, Sean Duffy, Pam Bondi, Stephen Miller, all of these folks all over the country who are working diligently as part of President Donald Trump's cabinet and building a team, a coalition of experts who can excel on their own and who can take control of situations without having to run and get your approval every 5 minutes. That is one of the cornerstones to Donald Trump's success. He did it with Steve Witkoff in the Middle East. And that's something we write about in my brand new book, Go Trump Yourself, 10 Ways to Live Like Trump in Any Economy. If you're feeling the pinch, or if you want to live more like Trump and less like, well, you're living right now, get this book. It's only $24 for the digital download bundle. You get the ebook, which you can begin to read immediately. And you also get the audiobook, so you can listen to me read it to you if you don't want to listen. If you don't want to read it for you, just pop it in the car and I'll read you the entire thing. You can learn all of the secrets that Donald Trump has used to dominate his life in every aspect: entertainment, business, family, politics. GoTrumpYourself.com is the website address, GoTrumpYourself.com, or you can click the link in the description of this video and it'll take you right there. Only $24. Get this book today and Trump yourself tomorrow.